because you haven't got money to buy freaking protein.
Yeah.
God damn it, man. Me, if you know me by now.
Yeah.
I am not the kind of person to sit still for too long. Benefits being at home. It's like, Mom, can I live in the house again, please? Can I have that room? Is it okay? Do I have to pay rent? And I'm always very trusting, which has always stabbed me in the back sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm extremely trusting until you break that point. But if you look at one of the most modern places in Sri Lanka, the newest gym, which is, they spend a lot of money on training. Excuse me, you train, right?
Yeah.
Do you want a job?
Yeah.
And they get a job. They got no goddamn certification.
Important habits that make you a better athlete on a day-to-day level.
But how much do you think about the food and drink that goes into your mouth? The impact it has on our body, the outcome it gives.
How important is to educate ourselves and
There's different issues, different demographics, different ages, different injuries, all of these things. You need to understand when and how you should transition to online training.
Okay.
Don't just sell it as a thing that is for everyone.
Welcome back to another episode with Fitness Island. For a while, we haven't been able to do this podcast, but today we're just getting back to it, and we got an awesome guest on board. Trust me, if you sit back, watch this entire podcast, there's so much to learn from this guy. And before I give an introduction to him, he's formerly known as Coach Cody, right? We call him Coach Cody. Wikum Kodituaku is in the house to talk to you guys a lot about functional physique. We're going to touch on the topics of how to look aesthetic while still being an athlete who's at the highest level of performance. Welcome, Wick, to the show.
Hey man, what's up? Thank you for having me.
Right. I think you're like the new man in the scene, the new man in the Sri Lankan fitness industry,
scene, yeah.
right? There are a few names you've known. But now all of a sudden, everyone's wondering who's Wick. They've seen your content. They've seen the value you bring in terms of education, in terms of a different approach to fitness.
Yeah.
Let's get to know Wick.
Cool. Hey guys, what's up? So my name is Wikum Koditaku. I've been in this industry, fitness industry, about 15 years professionally, but partook as an athlete from a very young age. Fitness has always been embedded into me from my parent, mainly my dad, from a very young age, and transitioning into playing sport through school. And then actually, funnily enough, when I finished school, my degree was in business management.
Okay.
Funnily enough, even today, someone asked me, what made you do business, man? And I was like, you know what? It was one of those rebellious moments where my parents considered me to not be the kind of individual that would go to uni and get a degree. Because I'm not going to lie, after year 9, I fooled around too much.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie to you.
I've heard those stories.
But then, like, especially when my dad said, you know what, don't worry about uni, go get an apprenticeship, start building from there. I was like, no, watch this space. I'm going to go to uni, get myself a goddamn degree. So anyway, I worked my ass off in my A-levels finally to make sure, because I had to redo my A-level actually on my first year, because I did fool around. Got my focus back in the second year and actually redid my first year and then finished it off and actually got myself into Manchester to do my degree in business management.
Okay.
Now, if you ask me today, would I have done that degree?
Yeah.
And would I have like worked much harder with a different focus in my last couple of years? My answer would be hell yeah. Like, I think even in the UK, even currently, we lack mentors as well as the sufficient guidance needed by the education system to enable you to think about your future prospects. What is it? What's your true destiny? Because there's a lot of people that's doing jobs that they really are not passionate about. They're doing it for the money and they're doing it to get them through day by day or week by week or just support their family. But in reality, there's so many people, they live to work, right? Rather than, like, they live to work rather than work to live, right? And that's a mindset I've always been against. Even when so I did my degree in business management, got myself a postgrad job at a financial recruitment agency in London. I quit after 3 days. I couldn't do it. One, it was slightly unethical in the way they did things, but also, secondly, me, if you know me by now.
Yeah.
I am not the kind of person to sit still for too long. I'm too
active.
I'm too active. I'm too out there. I'm just so for me, sitting in a desk job wasn't for me. And once I realized that, and luckily I had my PT diploma at that time as well, I realized, okay, you know what? This ain't for me. I'm going to pursue my career in coaching because my time at sports was kind of done. I didn't get into the level I expected to be, and I did have some injuries along the way in certain sports. So I pursued, I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to be a trainer. I'm going to pursue that career. And then from that point onwards, and even then, to be fair, I never had the best of starts in the industry. In the UK, there's a saying. There's a lot of people that actually come into the industry, like the fitness industry, because they say, oh, you know, my mate who's a PT, he's earning so much an hour. And I was like, oh, that's sick. I want to earn that much an hour. So you got Joe Bloggs, who's a freaking bricklayer, converting into a PT, doing a 6-week PT diploma and thinking he's God's gift PT trainer who's barely trained himself. Now, that has a negative impact on the training culture and the society, and has a negative impact on all trainers out there who's actually invested a lot of time, effort, money, dedicate in everything they have to be the best trainer that they can be, or the best coach that they can be. So one thing that we see is about 60% of trainers that enter the industry in the UK leave within the first 6 months. Okay. 60%, that's a huge majority of trainers. Simply because now to get a diploma as a personal trainer is easy. You can do it at home now.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can be a coach without any hands-on experience or someone actually teaching you these things hands-on. Especially if you're a freaking bricklayer or a cook transitioning onto being a trainer where you haven't even had the lifestyle of being in fitness or sport. So I myself never had the best start because being an athlete to being a coach is completely different. You know, as a coach, you're about understanding individuals. There's a hell of a lot of sales as well. That's what people don't realize. 50% of your job is sales and marketing. Therefore, if you don't know how to market and sell yourself in the right way, which isn't a forcible thing, you're doing it all wrong. So my mindset is always to go help rather than to go sell. And the help converts into a sale. Whereas a lot of people in the UK, they stress out about the number and the amount that they have to earn, and they push themselves to do something. And what they end up doing is they actually fail because they do the 6-week course. They don't actually learn the tools on how to convert any prospects into an immediate client. They don't know how to have initial conversation. And that was one area that had no experience. Remember, I was an athlete. I don't know how to sell things. And I couldn't sell anything to anybody. I had no sales experience. And in my first job as a trainer, I was working at Virgin Active in Didsbury. This was in my 3rd year while at uni. This is after I finished my gap year because I did my PT diploma during my gap year. Worked at Virgin Active, started as a standard fitness coach, progressing to personal trainer in the first couple of months. And working as a PT there, I really struggled to pick up people. I remember I'm not the trainer I am today then. I was new, I was shy, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, okay, cool, I know how to train myself. My vision was like, my perspective was always like, oh yeah, I had a sick workout today. I'm gonna show these people how good it was. So I didn't, exactly, I didn't have that right mentality, that right approach. And a lot was to do with the kind of management that was there. And to this day, I think one of the key people that helped me once stay in this industry and change my mindset and my coaching and to actually educate myself to the point where I'd be recognized as a good coach was a guy called Tom Gallen, right? He was the England lacrosse captain at that point, and he was the PT manager at the Virgin Active I've worked at. And I was in awe of this guy. I love the way he trained. I liked his programming. I even said a quote, I was like, I want your brain. Because the kind of conversations I had with him was so intellectual when in the fitness industry, whereas you could rarely have that similar conversation or have that kind of knowledge come out from someone else. So I said to the dude, I was like, how old are you? And bear in mind, I was 20, just 20 at this time, right? So I said to the guy, I was like, how old are you? He goes, 28. I was like, man, right. What do I need to do in order to have your brain in the next 2 or 3 years rather than 28? And he really liked the fact I said that because that was my mentality. I was always, because being in sport, I was competitive. I wanted to be the best. I didn't want to just be another person. So I was like, right, what are you reading? What are you eating? Where are you shopping? Like who are you hanging out with? I was like, can I be your friend? Like it was literally like that. And he became my mentor for the rest of the time I was there at Virgin Active. And he was one of the people that ensured I stayed in the industry because guarantee if he didn't come in, I probably would have left it. Because I struggled. Bro, I couldn't get a client in 3 months. That's a big issue, right? So after that, man, it just went skyrocket from that point on. I was confident and I learned more about sales. I actually hung out with the sales team at the Virgin Active at that point because you need to understand sales. That's one thing. Don't just think by standing in the gym, looking buff, and doing good work that's going to attract people to you. It's about the kind of conversation you got to have, empathy, understanding, experience of training a wide demographic of people. So you experience all these little issues people go with. And because of that experience, you're able to actually prescribe a better program for them, a better process for them to buy into. That's a saying that we hear all the time, right? Buy into my process. But how much of that process have you actually prescribed to that person based on their needs and analysis? How much have you analyzed this person's lifestyle?
True.
Like, how much have you been real with them? How much have you got to know them? Because a lot of people, this is the biggest difference I've seen. Now, most trainers who are new to the industry, which I was at that point,
Yeah.
if you came up to me saying, dude, yeah, I'm looking at losing weight, I want to put on some mass, my perception was like, cool, do some conditioning, make you lift weights, right? I didn't even ask you any further questions. And I was a shit trainer back then. No lie, hands up. I started as a shit trainer in this industry. But if you ask me that same question again, I will counter answer you questions, right? Counter ask you questions. You know, I want to dig
Get to
deeper
know
into
the
your
person
lifestyle.
much better.
Exactly, the root issues why it stems to you either gaining weight, or why you're having lack of sleep, or why there's issues in their marriage, or why you not having a good work home life balance, and your kids are pissed off, or your wife's pissed off for that reason. These are also big factors to why someone could be unhealthy or putting on weight. All of these things. Now, this is when you take a holistic approach, and then you look at that person, because remember, the fitness industry sells itself because of the amount of aesthetical people out there.
Yeah.
Because of social media at the moment, social
I'm
media
getting
is
to
a
that.
God's-given gift to the fitness industry, right? For the gyms, for like people's fitness, like a company, for any company that's in the fitness industry, social media is gold, because all you see is visual, like especially Instagram. It's a visually driven platform. So when you see people that live, you kind of compare yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why in social media now you have so many negative factors with such depression, social anxiety, people questioning and doubting themselves, body confidence at one of the lowest points in human race, because people don't believe that they are worthy, because they don't look the same way. They don't feel like they can enter.
Comparison to what you see on social media.
It's a superficial thing, right? So my mind and my approach changed big time.
Okay.
So remember, coming as a trainer, to be fair, I'm an S&C coach, accredited in 3 modules of the UKSCA platform.
Yeah.
So from that, I've derived further into the sports sector. I've worked with predominantly mostly tennis athletes, rugby, American football, and basketball. So American football I did for a year at uni, but then basketball, netball, rugby, and all that stuff I did S&C work with. Small teams, not huge major teams there. But then PT has always been one of my number one passions, because I like working with people. I'm very much a people person. I hate being on my own. I'm one of those things.
Sure.
So you know me, I talk to anyone and everybody, and it's one of those things. So naturally, I knew PT's my life. Once I realized how to sell, how to convert, how to develop myself, how to educate myself, stay current with the industry, because we're in one of those industries that's evolving. Every day. There's other new methodologies, there's new research done, which kind of completely disregards everything that was done back in the day. So you have to stay in trend with it. Now, after I qualified as a trainer and obviously gained my experience, I progressed on from being a Virgin Active, got self-employed, doing my own thing. I actually came out here in Sri Lanka in 2012. Was out here for like 6 or 7 months in total. Worked at High Octane then as well. Worked with his rugby team, done some PT work here while I was traveling, because my purpose was to come into Southeast Asia and do some traveling straight after uni. Then afterwards went back to England, and then I had to move back home, because remember my uni was in Manchester, so I really did all my PT work in Manchester. So the first shock was, oh shit, I've got come to a new place and re-find clients and start at zero. But the benefit is being at home. It's like, Mom, can I live in the house again, please? Can I have that room? Is it okay? Do I have to pay rent? So luckily it was all good. So staying in my parents' house, start to rebuild from nothing. And this time I went to David Lloyd. And in David Lloyd, and the thing is, I'm always in the mindset, if there's no job available, I will create that job. And I always get my foot in the door. That's number one thing. So I bought a membership. Kept asking the PT managers, let me know when you got a job going, man. I'm really keen. And soon I started training there. They start to see the way I train. Now I train, I don't know, if you see the way I train slightly differently. I take a much more of a functional approach. The things I do some people might think is freaky as anything, especially if I start snatching, clean and jerking, things like that. Simply because of my CrossFit background. Now, as soon as I started doing that kind of stuff at David, I was like, who's this guy? He's just the guy who comes and trains here, right? And then the manager eventually came and spoke to me. He's like, listen, Vic, we haven't got any jobs at the moment, but eventually, in the next few weeks, I really need you to, be aware that, you're going to be joining the team soon. But before that job came on play, there's a sales role that came on. I was like, okay, cool. You know what? I need to make some money. Let me jump into sales. Smashed. I actually ended up being in sales at David Lloyd for 10 months.
Okay.
Smashed sales out of the test. I was like one of the top performing salespeople at the branch there. Kicked ass in that. And that was one of the biggest learning curves, bro. Biggest learning curves.
Yeah.
How to manage clients, like prospects. When you get a lead, how to convert a lead into a prospect. What's the definition of a cold prospect to hot prospect? All of these things. How you categorize these things. And which eventually when you're building your own business and you've got inquiries coming in, you need to have a systemized plan on how you filter all these inquiries coming in and when do you follow up, all of these things. I learned at that. So that was a great tool for motor learning. So then from there, went straight up into PT. Again, the David Lloyd structure was a self-employed concept. You charge what you want, you make your money, and all you got to do is a couple of hours on the gym floor a week for free, which was cool with me because that was engagement time. Did that, and the sales stuff really helped. And with the mindset of wanting to help rather than sell, the selling just happened.
Sure.
I just find people doing stuff and I want to go correct them. I don't want to go sell nothing to them. I just want to give them, because for
genuinely we want to help people.
And like I'm a big believer. If I read a book today, I want to tell you about it tomorrow. And I want to tell another person about the day after. Because that book is going to get ingrained into my head the more people I speak to about it. Just like that, everything I learn in the fitness industry, I'd apply it to myself. I learn it, I feel it. Because as a coach, that's the whole thing. Before you prescribe anything to anyone else,
you got to try it firsthand.
You are the first guinea pig to feel it. Because then you can coach someone about the feel. Because most training mechanics is about feel. Engagement, because it's all body parts, right? You activate it. Can you feel this switch on off? All those things. Can you feel that rotator cuff turn? Engage this part. All of these things. So I was always a guinea pig for everything that I did. So I want to be as versatile as a coach as I can. You know, some may use the term jack of all trades, master of none, right? But like, there are areas that I feel like I've got very competent in. There's areas that I'm mastered enough to the point I can coach someone in. For example, I know gymnastic rings. Doesn't mean I'm a gymnastic coach. Would I incorporate gymnastic rings as a skill element to someone's training to get them to not think physically, but more cognitively and focus-wise? Of course. I'm not a boxing coach. I did amateur boxing back in the day, and I've done pad work ever since for the last 10 years. So I'm pretty competent in pads. But if you come to me and say, dude, I want to get into boxing, I'm like, that's the boxing gym, you go there. But if my client, if I want to bring a skill element to their conditioning, I'm a boxer them and I will teach them correct technique. But I can't build a boxing athlete. I can get your average Joe into a very good place where they can eventually join a boxing gym and master it from that point on. So that's where I mean about the whole concept of like, what did I say? What's the saying?
Being able to master.
What's how the saying go?
Jack of all
trades, master of none. Yeah. So that's kind of my approach towards that mindset. So from that, I derived then obviously developing through David Lloyd, did my own thing. Then transitioned from the Stephen H. David Lloyd to the Finchley one, which is a much bigger David Lloyd, as the lead coach. So managing over a team of nearly 30 PTs, developing them, mentoring them, coaching them, building them up to a good point. And when I got there, it was one of the worst performing PT teams in the entire 109 David Lloyds in the country. I got them to be one of the top. In the space of under a year, performance changed completely. One thing I've always been taught to be is empathic and understanding. And I'm always very trusting, which has always stabbed me in the back sometimes. I'm extremely trusting until you break that point. But I will always give you everything I got until you go do something dumb. Exactly. So because of that reason, my team worked really well for me. And once I did that, I realized, okay, I've achieved this. I've done this. Let me go back to people. I've got other things to do. At this point, I've already been having conversations even to my closest mates about my vision of creating my own space. And when I got hired at David Lloyd, when was this? 2013. Yeah, 2013 when I got hired by David Lloyd. On my first interview, I said to them, I was straight up. I'm always straight up with everything I say. I'm here for now, but I'll be gone. I said to him, listen, my vision is to create my own space, my own gym. You guys are a big commercial corporate gym. You know, you guys have over 100 gyms across the country. When it comes to knowing what to do and being organized, you guys are pretty good. I want to know everything you do in regards to the logistics, the operations, the management, the staffing, recruitment, everything. And that's hence why when the sales thing came, I was like, let me jump in because I need to learn that too, right? So once I felt like I've had all the experience, my next focus now after finishing the lead coach role was like, okay, I need to find the right people to do this with. And I actually recruited 5 people in total to come and do this with me. 4 of which people that I actually recruited to my team myself, and one was actually there before I got there. And you know, I instigated the whole thing. I brought them into the idea that we wanted, and then every Thursday night we'd meet up sneakily at one of their houses because we didn't want the company knowing we were planning something behind their back. So this went on for about 18 months of rigorous planning simply because we were looking for properties.
Yeah.
And we were quite restricted because we were looking for something in the radius of where the current gym was because we want to transition our clients.
Yeah, clients.
Right. So being real cheeky, Steve,
Yeah.
back. So then we came to the point of looking at contracts. Now, David Lloyd even tried to sue me.
Okay.
Out of everyone in the team, all of these people, right? The word got down the line that I'm trying to do something, and they sent a letter from their lawyers to me. Spoke to my lawyer. He said, completely disregard it, don't even reply to it.
Yeah.
If they try to come at you, there's other ways. And we actually looked at our contracts, and there's lots of loopholes that we could actually work through. And I decided to be the first one. Okay, let me jump back. Let me go from David Lloyd into another gym and work self-employed while our gym gets built.
Okay.
Right? And took all the risks of doing that. Then moved across there, and eventually Onyx opened in 2018 February.
Right.
February 2018 is when we opened it. No, sorry, 2019, my bad. 2019 Feb. We got the property in September, and from September to Feb, did all the build work, built it up. And it was a huge achievement.
Yeah.
Like literally it felt like a huge milestone.
Sri
like a
Lankan
dream.
opening a gym in
I know,
UK.
right?
That
I know.
just sounds
In London
good.
as well. That was one of the things that like, and I've had to pinch myself. Okay, I mean, even my best mates, one of my best mates, Dami, on the opening day, comes to me and goes, bro, I remember the time when we were at uni and you were talking about this moment at uni, which was like nearly 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. And he was like, you did it. You actually had a vision and you nailed it. And that was, and even my brother, who rarely compliments, he goes, bro, when you guys, like, you're one person I've seen who you had an intention and you created it. You got people to buy into your vision. And you then got them to come and invest and do something big like this. That's huge. So for me, it was an accomplishment of creating my vision. And then, and actually getting some really cool trainers to come and jump along with it and actually build into a successful business. But then, like about 8 months into the opening, I came to a point where I had to make a huge decision. So bear in mind now, we've spanned now for about 10 years, 11 years of my professional career in the industry. And then it came to a point, because my parents live in Sri Lanka, they moved out here. And due to some of the work that my dad was doing, I had to commit, me and my brother both decided we had to be here to help out. So we made the decision to actually come here only from last year, September to December. So I said to my co-owners at Onyx, and said, listen guys, I'm only going to be gone for a few months. Is everything going to be cool? They were like, yep, no worries, man. Listen, anything that you can do from abroad, go for it. I know what you're going out for. It's a good reason and it's a genuine reason. It's not a benefit. It's not a monetary benefiting thing for me. It's genuinely like a social thing that I was trying to do, a social welfare thing. And being here till December, things just extended. Things prolonged. The reason as to kind of like why I came out, things got prolonged and my time frame increased, and I started to contemplate about where do I really want to be. And one of the main reasons I actually chose to stay in Sri Lanka was my parents. And then at that very moment I decided that this was going to be home. First thing I got, right, time to knuckle down the fitness industry here. So the first thing I did, like, I'm a big guy when it comes to market research. I need to know what the hell is going on in a place before I put my foot in it, right? So I went to every commercial gym. I went to your high octanes, your body docs, your Zimantras, your train yards. Then went even to the boutique ones, the smaller concepts, to understand where is the fitness industry in Sri Lanka. Now, in a commercial level, we're very much in the bodybuilding society. There's nothing wrong with that. Bodybuilding is a global sport that's popular. It's a very popular sport, which is great. But one thing when I do a comparative study to the UK has bodybuilding, but the most transition thing is people are starting to take a much more holistic, sustainable approach when looking at health and fitness. Now, the reason I say this is, now listen, Sri Lanka has produced some amazing bodybuilders. But we barely haven't
produced amazing athletes.
No amazing athletes, right? Because even if you look at our strength and conditioning at the most creme de la creme level, your top level, right? Your first team levels, even our national cricket team is data the way they train. Right? S&C approach. And one of the main reasons is simply because listen, one thing I've noticed in Sri Lanka, everything has a political drive to it somewhere. But it's the old boys just stick around for too long. When you have young minds, young visions, young coaches who wants to be creative, who wants to look at performance in a different kind of way, with research, with testing, with new movements as well as tools available in the industry, they want to block it.
Yeah.
They're like, no, this is not going to work. This is what we do. You want to do this, you do it our way.
The traditional way.
The traditional way. Dude, listen, if things were kept in traditional way, we're going to be left behind as an island, as in the industry of sport as well as fitness.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest difference is the functional stuff. Now, when I came here and I started doing functional, people look at me weirdly in the gym, right? Because my background came from doing CrossFit for like 4 years and then transitioned from CrossFit into functional training, where I just took all my favorite things of CrossFit, which was like Olympic lifting and the gymnastics side, and then incorporate more functional work in a sustainable way. CrossFit's great, but it batters the crap out of your body. And that's why when CrossFit came along, every physio was like, hallelujah, man. I'm about to make money. Because like every day you get a CrossFit going, yeah, man, I got a shoulder nigga. Because like, CrossFit's fantastic as long as it's coached properly and it's practiced properly. But
I was going to spark some controversy.
Oh, it will. For sure it will. Listen, every CrossFit out there is like, no, it's fantastic. Listen, I CrossFit myself. I think it is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But every box is different.
Yeah.
You can have a phenomenal programming system in one box. The perfect way to introduce CrossFit to an individual, the Joe Blogs, who's never done CrossFit. And you'll have another box. Your first session, you're doing Cindy.
Yeah.
Right? And that way around, you're not primed. You're not prepped. You have like, imagine on your first session, you're like, yeah, mate, we're doing snatches today. What's that?
Yeah.
And then you're learning on to learn a snatch in a workout. And so that's what I mean. CrossFit is great as a brand, as a concept. What it's done is change the fitness community globally. Yeah. Globally, and made people want to join a gym in a community. That's the main thing, the word community. They have a huge millions of people around the world. It became $1 billion industry in such a short space of time, right? That's why
what you did was kind of pick the essentials out of CrossFit and moved out of it,
which is actually what a lot of CrossFit athletes do. Now you look at Jason, like the old boys, right? Your Jason Kalipas, your Marcus Phillies, right? Those have transitioned completely into a functional approach. Like you got Jason Kalipas with NC Fit. Marcus Philly is Revival Strength, right? So those two guys are doing amazing stuff in the functional world. They incorporate certain like WOD-like workouts to enable that they're still conditioning. It's not your typical atypical CrossFit-based workouts.
Just gonna pause you on that. Where would you draw the line? What's the main difference between CrossFit and what you do, where you have a bit of a different approach? Where do you draw the line? What's the difference?
Between functional training and CrossFit. Now, CrossFit, remember, CrossFit has a variety of programs. Yeah. Right? So workout set. So if you go to a box, you're going for a set workout. So it's a lot of high volume work. You have to be fairly well conditioned. Yeah. The strength programming is not the best in the CrossFit sector, because they're like, they're always thinking about like, you have to do a WOD, you have to get sweaty, you have to put the work. But at the same time, there's certain CrossFit boxes that have a complete separate class just for strength packages. But are you going to go to strength and CrossFit on the same day? You ain't got time. Anybody got time to go to 2 different classes each day, so you can't hit both things. And most people that fell in love with CrossFit is because of the aesthetics. Yeah. Remember, that's one thing. That's what bodybuilding sells. It's that everyone wants to look good. Who doesn't want to look good? Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and you look at some of the CrossFit athletes, they can enter a bodybuilding stage and even get a medal at some cases, right? So their conditioning is phenomenal. So that's quite relevant for a bodybuilder, because remember, a bodybuilder isn't meant to be flexible anyway. They have to be flexible enough to make sure they can do their poses on stage. Yeah. But remember, we're talking about everyday people, man.
Lifestyle, changing lifestyle.
Not an everyday person's training to be a bodybuilder. Not an everyday person's trying to be a powerlifter. Not an everyday person's trying to be a CrossFitter. Yeah. So it's having to understand what is the needs, not necessarily the wants of that individual. Yeah. Now, this is where functional training and the functional approach is a much different approach. Yeah. You're not just trying to make an individual the strongest person or the biggest person. You're trying to make them the strongest version that they can be based on the lifestyle they lead. Sure. Right? Because remember, yes, an individual can get strong as fuck, right? But the reality is there's a lot of detriment if like your range of movement will start to degrade. You'll start to get aches and pains. I speak to some of the powerlifters, man. They're in chronic pain on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. But their passion for the sport keeps them pushing on. But now, some of them have started to do mobility. Sure. Some of them start to go, okay, you know what? Sustainability is important. I can't do loads of stuff. My back's in chronic pain. I can't drive for too long. I can't sleep properly. And they all start to look a little bit holistically. Yeah. So my main thing I want to say is the reason functional training, I've really got a passion to it, is because it's for the mass market. Yeah. It's about understanding your needs. Because even like, for example, even here, now there's a thing called in-body at a high octane, right?
Yeah.
Now, which gives you readings of your body fat, your visceral fat, your lean mass, all of these things, right? Now, someone who might look aesthetically quite good on the outside, because they do a lot of bodybuilding, right? They don't do any conditioning. They don't really go for a run. They barely get their heart rate about 120, right? So that's their focus. Now, some of these guys, when I've got them on the in-body, they come back and I look at their visceral fat and educate them what the hell visceral fat is. So for those of you that don't know what visceral fat is, it's the fat that surrounds it around your organs, right? Which has a direct impact on the functionality of the organ and can lead to organ-based issues like diseases, failures, all of these things, right? So when their visceral fat is so high and they're just baffled, it's like, but I train all the time.
Yeah.
That's like, but okay, how's your nutrition? Oh, you know, my protein's real good. How balanced is your, how much greenery do you have? Where's your micronutrients? Everyone talks about your macronutrients. Barely does anyone actually talks about micronutrients, right? And you talk about that. So it's like, they're like, okay, so how can I drop my visceral fat? Listen, fundamentally, your body, your internal is like an engine, right?
Yeah.
We have to work that engine, which means that heart has to work occasionally. The lungs have to build some capacity, enabling our body to work that. And then our nutrition has to be matched to ensure that we're not just loading on carbs and proteins and just fats. We're looking at your micronutrients that actually help with your recovery, regeneration, all of these things our body needs. So this is why I say your everyday person has to think as an everyday athlete.
Yeah.
You have to think of making things relevant for your life, your work, your family. And the sacrifices they have to make is far different to the sacrifices athletes make. So this is why I always say the functional approach is suitable for the mass market. Yeah. And this is why even in the Western world, like in the UK, this is thriving. It's a huge thrive, which is what I haven't yet to see here yet.
Awesome. That's a lot to learn from Vic. Just Vic, to kind of dive into things. So as for someone who's been in UK for 12 years, and this is a good opportunity for us to audit the Sri Lankan fitness market. Because I think in Sri Lanka, we are somewhat connecting fitness all with bodybuilding. So every time we talk about fitness, we're directly looking at the aesthetics and we're not diving into deeper things like functionality or, you know, how good are you in your daily basic movements and things like that. So as a person who has come from outside, 12 years in an international market in UK, exposed to a lot of new things, what are the key things you've seen in the Sri Lankan market that you think needs to change, and what are some of these basic things you've noticed once you've come here in the recent past?
The two main things that's responsible for the industry, the fitness industry, and the way it's going, the direction it's going, is two things: trainers, gyms. Now, the trainer trains their clients based on the equipment available in the gym. But the trainer also will train the clients based on the knowledge that they have of fitness. So if a gym was to invest more in a functional approach, was to invest in foreign trainers and coaches to come and educate their current staff on how to utilize this functional equipment, are they going to slowly deviate away from that and start to realize the benefits of functional training? Of course. Yeah. But is that happening here? Is it?
Probably not. No. Not at all.
So when I did my market research on all these gyms, the main thing I saw was machines. And machines have their place. Yeah. I'm not saying machines are not important. They have their place and their purpose. Now, if you're a 9-to-5 worker working at a desk all day, you tend to spend the evenings with the kids at home chilling, watching some TV. And that hour you have to expend some energy and move your body. You want to sit again and work in one plane of motion? Is that healthy? Is that the mindset that we as coaches should be educating to the mass here? Which is what we've started doing in the UK. Yeah. We've started to realize actually the functional approach is the way forward. It's more relative to everybody. Yeah. Right? Because if you ask some of the bodybuilders in this country, your professional bodybuilders, look at the sacrifice they have to make. Can an everyday person make that sacrifice? Hell no. Because they work, they got kids, they have to run a life, they have to pay rent, they barely earn any money. There's so much things that goes in a normal person. So do what you can that's suitable for you. And the responsibility comes to our trainers and the gyms. Now, if you look at one of the most modern places in Sri Lanka at the moment, the newest gym, which is, they spend a lot of money on, they've tried to go down the functional approach, but the problem is there's no concept. The programming, the science behind it. It's just they've turned a perfect environment with great conditioning platform like Arena into just a circuit class, right? Where's the education? The whole purpose of us trainers, it's like going to a doctor, right?
Yeah.
If you go to a doctor, what you go for? Advice, or you need a prescription,
Yeah.
or you need to tell them what you need information on what the hell's going on with certain parts of your body. Why
Yeah.
are these issues coming up? If they tell you advice and information, you're going to take it. You're going to know
Yeah.
this is the doctor I'm speaking to. Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it exactly what you're telling me. We're fitness professionals. We have a similar role to a doctor. If anything, actually, we have more of a role.
Sure.
Because recently, even in the UK, there was a wide research study done on all postgraduate medicine postgraduates, right?
Yeah.
Asking them, do you feel competent enough to educate your future patients on nutrition, right? Their answer was, they don't feel like they had sufficient nutrition-based education in any of their modules
Yeah.
to recommend the right dietary requirements to fight or counteract any illness or disease.
Yeah.
Instead, they can prescribe any drug and every
Yeah.
drug out there. So you can see what the controlling powers are,
Yeah.
right? So this is the issue here. So as a trainer, you have more power than a freaking doctor to change a person's life. For example, if you're a type 2 diabetic,
Yeah.
what does the doctor tell you to do? Manage your insulin levels,
Yeah.
please. Make sure you carry some, chocolate around with you, some biscuits
Yeah.
around with you. Just make sure if you have a hypo, just stay at home,
Yeah.
manage it, and so they're not talking about how to. It's a preventative fact. Type 2 is preventative. Go into a ketogenic phase, like go into ketosis. Balance your insulin levels. Like that means shut your insulin levels. Because remember, as soon as you put some glycogen into your body, any kind of carbohydrates, what spikes? Insulin. As long as we can control that spike, you are good. You can get someone that's type 2 diabetes who couldn't drive because they're scared they might have a hypo, who couldn't go to work because they were scared to have a hypo, to do everything back to normal. And type 1s, you can do it so they can manage like they almost don't have it, right? So these are the responsibilities of the trainers.
Which is something you don't see in Sri Lanka.
Don't see. Now, I'll tell you why that is. Okay,
Yeah.
so in the UK, we have a thing called Reps. Reps isn't the most fantastic either.
Yeah.
Now, they're actually progressing into another company who's trying to do better. But the idea behind it is they're the governing body for fitness professionals. Does Sri Lanka have a governing body for fitness professionals? Cool. What is the sole responsibility of a governing body? Any governing body. Say, okay, in Sri Lanka, for the lawyers, there's a governing body.
Yeah.
What's their purpose?
To create a standard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if there's no governing body, there's no goddamn
There's no
standard.
standard. Yeah.
Right? There's no one to even assess to see if you're actually certified.
Yeah.
If you're qualified to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, not every gym around the country is these big things.
Yeah.
Or some are like your, even what they call body powers. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Like, anyways,
You're
like,
gonna have to beep that name out.
so anyway, they're smaller,
Yeah.
smaller concept
Boutique
gyms, right?
gyms, yeah.
Which some of them, if you see a guy training competently, they'll just be like, excuse me, mate, you train, right?
Yeah.
Do you want a job?
Yeah.
And they get a job. They got no goddamn certification.
Yeah.
So how are you expecting the industry to develop and change when every Joe Blogs who looks half decent gets a job without even checking the
Yeah.
certification of an individual?
Okay.
And the other thing is, in the UK of reps, you have to get a certain amount of CBD points every year to ensure that you can retain your reps membership, which means reps also make sure that there's online material available for free for those who
Okay.
can't even afford it. So you can do these online seminars and courses to still get the relevant CPD points to qualify to the renewal.
Yeah.
But if you're doing courses, they've also recognized every course available that's worthwhile. And if you do a course, there's a big lump of CPDs that come into your pocket.
Okay.
Right, so lump back it, and you do one course, and it's pretty much you've covered up the CPDs
Yeah.
that you need to do for that year. It's like 12 CPDs, if correct, that you need to get. So when you look at it that way,
You're
that
creating a
governing-
standard.
Exactly, and you're ensuring all trainers, because remember what I said earlier, this industry is evolving quickly.
Yeah.
And that means we constantly
Continuous
are on a
education
learning.
is so important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas here, education in the fitness industry is freaking minimal to non-existent.
Okay.
Right? So when I came here, it's very rare. So some gyms, I mean, a couple of gyms that I've spoken to, they actually invest on sometimes foreign trainers coming in to educate their trainers, or they take their trainers abroad to do that. And that's a very rare occasion.
situation.
Very rare occasion. And most people in this country, if you look at the working society, they work very long days to not earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
So most people actually can't afford to even do these things. Even some trainers that we know, like they work their asses off to earn a decent living. But you ask any of them on when was the last time you did a course or invested in your own development?
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest issues. Now, if there isn't a governing body, the industry itself will slow down big time. Everyone will go surpasses. right?
Yeah.
And the quality of training, the quality of coaching will drop drastically. Like, so one thing, so at the moment, I do a lot of coaching and development for trainers in Sri Lanka at the moment. The purpose behind it is because I'm passionate on what I do as a coach.
Yeah.
So when I see others who are passionate, but they lack
They
the
don't
coaching skill,
knowledge.
I want to help them.
Yeah.
Because they have the initial passion to learn.
Yeah.
They just haven't had the people nor the financial comfort to be able to do so. So at the moment, I'm developing all these trainers, showing them new ways of training, new ways of thinking, new ways of conversating with people, how to understand, how to really get the relevant information you need to prescribe a journey and to then get the individual to buy into that process.
Yeah.
So those are one of the, for me, that's one of the main reasons this industry in Sri Lanka is falling behind.
Yeah. So we're talking a little bit about how important education is, because as you said, today in Sri Lanka, the fitness market, there's really no standard, there's no expectation, there's no minimum level you need to complete to kind of get into. And you probably would have identified online coaching becoming very popular in the Sri Lankan market. What's your take? So some people have the conception that online coaching will not work as good as one-on-one. But again, we've seen a lot of trainers achieving great results with online coaching. So let's dive a little bit into it. Like, what are the practical stuff you see when it comes issues you come to see when it comes to coaching? And also subsequently, if you can touch a little bit on someone who's watching this who might has a passion to get into fitness.
Yeah.
Let's get practical and tell them how can they start. What are some of the ways you'd recommend how they can educate themselves? Anything specific that they need to follow?
Yeah.
Because I think there are a lot of people who have a passion genuinely to help people. I think coaching starts with a genuine passion of you wanting to help someone else become better. And if that's your goal and if you want to make this a career, you can just follow up on those topics and just give up some advice on that.
So, I mean, we'll touch base on the online training concept first. Online training is actually great. It's fantastic. But it's the user that has to really think about why they're going online first of all.
Okay.
At which point they need to go online. So let me touch on the user before the actual trainer who goes online. So for example, as a user, if you've never had any experience in the gym, you shouldn't be going to online coaching first. Your first approach should be, okay, I need a trainer to show me the way. It's like, imagine no one's ever taught you to drive a car and they go, right, here you go, mate, here's a car, drive.
Watch online how to,
and it's a manual car, bear in mind, not an automatic, a manual car. You're like, cool, it's 3 pedals, man. 6 of these things, what do I do? Right, it's the same, but there's a hell of a lot more things in the gym. You walk in there, like there's hundreds of machines, loads of different things. People are doing all sorts of things. You're like, what? Where do I start? What do I do? And sometimes inductions here, I mean, around the world might not be fantastic. Some gyms don't even do introductions and make sure that you have a program. And again, if standard of coaching isn't up there, how good is the coaching you're going to get one-to-one? So you have to find first thing that you have to do as an individual who's passionate and want to train and be fit and be health conscious, find yourself a good trainer that can give you the first fundamentals, like teach you all the fundamentals, give you the best start to your journey, right? Once you've learned the tools, it's like when I speak to all my clients, I say to them, listen, your purpose of joining with me is not just think I'm going to be with your life, like for life. Your aim is to understand all the things I'm about to teach you and then eventually transition into my online training platform, right? And some start by doing 3 sessions a week. And listen, I've got clients that still been with me for like 8-9 years anyway. Some are there because they love hanging out with you and they enjoy your presence. But you know, some people that are goal focused, I say like, listen, you got 6 months to achieve this. Once you achieve this, you want to drop down to only 1 session. By the end of the year, you want to jump on my online platform. And because remember, as a trainer, you only got set up amount of hours a week and you're always going to get new inquiries. So how are you going to funnel those inquiries through if you're just going to hold on to that same person? Because a lot of people just think money. What's your success as a trainer defined on? Results. Not how much money you got on your bank, dude. Right? So when you think in a result-oriented mindset as a trainer, you start to educate your personal clients, one-to-one facing clients in a way that's sustainable and a way that is affordable for them rather than saying, right, every session you come to the gym, you're with me. Don't do that, because also as a trainer, what you want is accountability, which means if they're going to come 3 times a week, I'll say, right, come twice with me. But on the 3rd session, you're on your own. I'm going to program you based on the experience you've had with me in the first 2, and that way you're going to follow that program for the next 4 weeks. Then they start to build that accountability. You can see if they can at least even turn up for that 1 session. And they do that program, gave you that feedback. When they're doing that, then you can eventually transition them down to 1 session a week. Now you've got space to bring another client in. So this is how you should work as a trainer. Not just go, I've got 20 clients, I'm holding the hell onto these, man. I'm not letting these things go. Like, yo, dude, think prosperity, think bigger. Don't just think small, don't just think now, don't just think short term, think long term. So that's when you can transition to online training. But if you are a trainer that's not had, I'm saying at least 3 years in my opinion, right? 3 years experience in the industry. This is my opinion. This is my opinion, right? At least 3 years in this, because the amount of people that you have to face, see, try, and experience different issues, different demographics, different ages, different injuries, all of these things. You need to understand how to get that person through feel, through touch, through things, because there are certain cues that you will use to educate a person. If you understand those cues, then even on an instant message on a virtual, you know how to let that person cue. Because remember, just a video isn't going to coach someone. That's the thing. So that's why I said, even to go onto online training, that person who's about to buy the online program needs to make sure they have good technique first of all. So go have one-to-one first before jumping in an online program. And yes, there are great online programs. I'm not here to tarnish anyone. Those people have built success upon it. Fantastic. But do your job for the industry and make sure you educate people on when and how you should transition to online training. Don't just sell it as a thing that is for everyone. Right. So that's my opinion.
So you would also recommend that anyone who what you were kind of touching on was that anyone who wants to jump into online training as a coach needs to first have hands-on experience one-on-one for a minimum of 3 years is what you're saying.
Okay, if in say 2 years you manage to cover over 1,000 hours of PT, you've got sufficient experience.
Okay.
Right.
But that's a bare minimum.
Yeah, no one's going to get 1,000 hours done in a year. That's a fact. That is a fact. Like even in certain places, to go from a standard to a platinum, or standard to an elite trainer, it's all about the hours you've completed. Right. That's your experience and the courses you've done.
Right.
And that way you've seen the development of an individual before they say, I'm an elite coach. You can't just put it like, it's at certain places you go, it's like, I'm a senior trainer. And you talk to them about their senior rotor and you question them. So why?
Yeah. What makes you senior?
What is it? It's like, oh, no, I've been here the longest.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. But the knowledge doesn't represent the time duration they've spent on things. So this is where not necessarily an issue, this is where the questions lie about when it comes to you going online, whether you need a trainer first, which is the approach that you should take as an individual.
And for someone who's getting started, where do they educate themselves? Now here, since we don't have a standardized governing body or any fundamental courses that they need to follow.
As a trainer or
as a trainer?
As a trainer.
So someone who's watching wants to get into becoming a coach and they want to be a better coach, or someone's already a coach who wants to be a better coach, who wants to continuously educate themselves. What are your recommended ways of getting that done?
First, find yourself a mentor.
Okay.
That was the number one thing that kept me in this industry. Find someone that you look up to as a coach. Find someone that you can go, I want to be like you.
Yeah.
Not because of the way they look, because of what they got up here.
Okay.
Anyone can look good.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot to be smart. And that takes time, reading, education, application, and precision in every way possible, right? So find yourself a mentor initially. And then learn from that individual first. Figure out where in the industry you fit as a coach based on your passion. Don't just go into bodybuilding because that mentor's in bodybuilding. That's why find someone that's relevant to your life, your kind of vision and your type of training and what you're passionate about. If you're into CrossFit, go find yourself a good CrossFit coach. Yeah. If you're into bodybuilding, go find yourself the best. Coach. Exactly. Yeah. So if you're into functional, go find the best functional. So that's what I've derived away from other stuff and just pursued more on functional. I've done FRC stuff, all of these things, bring more knowledge in so I can work on the mobility with people. I'm thinking about joint fascial work, right? So enabling person to move more efficiently when it comes to preventing injury, all this prehab stuff. I don't just apply that for athletes. I apply to the everyday individual because we should be thinking in that way. Remember, the purpose we train as a normal everyday person is ready whatever life may throw at us. And life can throw a freaking pothole on the way. And if our ankles aren't stable, we're going to roll that ankle or break that damn ankle. But if we train for the fact there's stability, you've got unilateral strength, you might be able to cope with that pothole. And you probably won't roll your ankle the way you normally would do. So this is the whole functional approach when it comes to that.
Awesome. That's, I think initially when I said we want to do the podcast, I want to touch a lot more on stuff about being aesthetic as well as being a performing athlete. A lot of practical stuff, but I think I'm going to keep that for the second edition, which means I'm going to invite you on here again, because some of the stuff you spoke about are very vital for us to know in terms of where the industry is and in terms of what to expect from a trainer and little things like that. Just before we wrap up this conversation, Vic, I'm definitely gonna want you to come back because I want you to talk a little bit about, because something when I saw you first, was something that came to my mind was you were doing more functional training, but also while maintaining that aesthetic which most people are after. Which one? Most of them who are watching probably want. They want to still look fit. So we'll probably dive into how you're going to achieve that in a practical sense, what kind of training you follow, what kind of nutrition you follow in probably our second coming episode. But just before we wrap up, can you talk a little bit of some lifestyle habits? We've
Habits.
spoken this off camera as well. Important habits that make you a better athlete on a day-to-day level. Some key habits that people need to start working on or cultivate in the next few months.
Cool. I'll touch on 3 habits.
Yeah.
So I'll touch on both nutrition, training, and recovery.
Okay.
So we'll touch on the training element first. Now, we know when it comes to results, it's all about consistency. And depending on whatever sport or background you've chosen to do, it's about the consistency and dedication you make there. So it's the element of you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail mindset. So you have to have that as a everyday athlete or as an athlete when approaching fitness. That's the only way you're going to progress. Right? There's no magic pill out there. There's no magic supplement out there. It's all about consistency. So that's what it comes to when it comes to training, and also make sure you go a pretty decent coach. That's another thing. And when it comes to nutrition, now obviously, listen, you're a guy that owns a supplement brand, but I said this to you many times. The reason I've decided to work with you and do this kind of stuff is because of your mindset. You know supplements have its place, but you know also whole food is freaking important. Supplement is a supplement, not an alternative. So we have to make sure people are aware of that. So if you're out there and you're thinking, "Ooh, I want to get into training and stuff, but oh man, I haven't got enough money to get protein this month, so I'll wait till next month to join the gym." You'll literally wait until next month to join the gym because you haven't got money to buy freaking protein? God damn it, man. Freaking eat some dal. Eat some chickpea. You just buy some tins. It's freaking cheap. Hey, have some fish. There's other resources of protein. There's abundance. It's not just chicken, beef, pork. It's not just the meat. There's seeds, there's nuts, there's pulses. There's so much. Educate yourself a little bit more on nutrition. Remember, if you're aware of if you buy a phone, bro, or if you buy anything electronic or any other gadget that costs you a little bit of money, you're like, I'm going to research it first, look at every review. If it's even got 3-star, you're like, nah, allow it. I'm going to the next one. And then you research it, and then you'll go physically touch it, play with it, contemplate it. You might even wait for it to come for an offer, then you'll go buy it. But how much do you think about the food and drink that goes into your mouth? The impact it has on our body, the outcome it gives. How much do you actually know about the internal functionality of your body? How your DNA is built up? How many people can say they've had a DNA test done to determine what works best for their body, including training and the nutrition? Because remember, some things that you eat may not work for me. My DNA build-up's different. Some things I eat may not work for you. So that's why there's no one plan for all concept. So when it comes to nutrition, educate yourself. The more you're aware, you'll make wiser choices rather than saying, excuse me, can I please get myself a little meal plan, please? Man, I can't do a meal plan. I don't want to give someone a meal plan. Listen, again, this is where sacrifice comes. Bodybuilders can stick to a meal plan because it's sacrifice, it's a sport. How the hell is an everyday person who gets invited to dinners in their family houses, go for meals after a Friday night or a Saturday night, what they going to do? Educate them people. Then finally, to touch on recovery. Recovery has a lot of things. The nutrition also acts as part of the recovery. What you do after you finish your workout acts as recovery. Your sleep acts as recovery. Fundamentally start with all those 3 things. Your post-training recovery, how good is your nutrition to refeed the body, to replenish the body, right? With the right kind of nutrients, the macro and micronutrients. And then the sleep. Are you getting sufficient sleep? Because even if you're a 9-to-5 worker and you still want to make gains in the gym, but you're not getting a good night's sleep, that impacts your body's output for performance, for gaining strength, for gaining size, all of these things. Read about how you can start to improve your sleep. Are you a person that's always on your phone or you're watching a movie before you go to sleep? The blue light doesn't help. Take all those things out. Take distractions out of your bedroom if you can, right? For example, have a chamomile tea before you go to bed. That boosts your melatonin levels to prime you to go to sleep better. I remember some people, they have chronic sleep issues, right? They wake up in the middle of the night. Don't fight these things. If you wake up, have a book next to your bed. If you wake up, don't fight it. Come up. I bet you won't even get through half a page before those eyes close again. There's so many things that we
Everything
can do.
starts with educating yourself.
Learn. The more you learn, dude. The reason, like I said to you, I would have made different choices when I was 15, 16 to today is because of what I've decided to learn today. If I could know the same information then, I would have made different choices. Just like that.
Invest in learning.
Everyday person. The more you educate yourself, the more you learn. That's why these podcasts are great. I love listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
I listen to podcasts more than music sometimes because for me, it's just learning something while I'm just listening and chilling or I'm doing some work. I know you do that too. And in Sri Lanka, it's still not the culture. In the UK, man, all we talk about is podcasts. We barely speak about music yet. It's like, yo, you see that latest Joe Rogan one? Have you seen that other one? Have you seen? It's like, that's where the crowd is. So we are always, as trainers, that's what we talk about. But here as trainers, it's a different conversation.
Thank you so much, Vic. As just to sum it up, as you said, that was really important in terms of how important it is to educate ourselves. And I personally, to say, we've been hanging out for about 2 months, and every conversation has been really productive. Always learning stuff from you, and that's also why I wanted to have him here. And there's much more I want to touch on. Trust me, talking about nutrition, training, because I've seen this guy train. I've seen him talking. He walks that talk, which is what I love to see in a personal trainer. And we are definitely going to dig his brain a little bit more on the next episode. In the meantime, you guys have to make sure you follow Coach.
It's Vic.Cody now. I had to change it, right?
Right? Follow him. If you got any questions, direct at him, and I'm pretty sure he'll be glad to help you.
Absolutely.
Until we see you from the next episode, it's a goodbye from us.
Adios.